Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of our podcast, and we're gonna continue where we left off. From the first one, we're gonna continue talking about remastered video games. So Ryan, you want to start us off?
Sure. One that I'd like to talk about that recently came out a few days ago that everyone's been praising, which is good, is the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which is a complete remake, rebuilt from the ground up of all three original Crash games, Crash 1, 2, and 3. And that is, I've seen gameplay of that, and it's pretty impressive to think that going from the PlayStation 1 with all these polygons and low resolution shit, and then you take that and you bring it into this day and age of consoles and technology, and to see how that has changed from then to here, it's impressive to see what they've done with it. And according to people, it has captured, the essence of what Crash Bandicoot was. It feels the same, it looks the same, but also with all the enhancements and improvements with the technology and whatnot. And I think that's a great thing. I think it shows promise for upcoming remakes or remasters that might be coming out within the next few years. It shows them that people really like these old style of games, these 3D platformers and stuff. Because we have sort of had a little bit of a resurgence in 3D platformers recently, but I think now people are going to be paying more attention to it. I think this is the defining point.
Yeah, I think so too. But one thing I was hoping, I thought they would have released or remake Crash Bandicoot a long time ago, but this remake, it looks fantastic. It brings back the old feeling, the old style of the Crash Bandicoot games on the PlayStation 1, and it's a good start, but I feel like it's gonna be a downfall because you're remaking like old games, but eventually people are gonna get tired of these remakes.
I guess you could sort of make that argument, but nostalgia is a powerful thing. Nostalgia is definitely a powerful thing, and when you promise people something that hasn't been on the market for years and years, something harkening back to that era of video games, and you're gonna bring it to them again, I don't know. I feel like that's gonna last for a while.
Yeah, you could say that, but think about it. It's kind of like movies. Like, you have all these new movies that are getting remade, and it's kind of like that. People are getting tired of these remade reboots of these movies. It's kind of like that. If they keep going down this road with old games, I feel like it's gonna eventually, people are just gonna not like these new old school remakes because they're getting tired of them.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, I see movies and games. They are obviously forms of art and media and whatnot. But I see movies and games differently than one another. I see one sort of almost higher than the other. I like games a lot more than I like movies, and every time a movie gets remade, I don't really hold it high. I don't really look at the remake and say, oh yeah, maybe that will fix what was wrong with the movie that came out in the first place. And that's why video games are different from movies, because movies, they've already been shot. It's not like you can go back to that film, and it's not like editing the original film and putting new scenes in and stuff and making it different and better. They're just remaking the whole fucking thing and making it have almost nothing to do with the original version. But video games, they can either take what was done in the past, make it more high res, change some stuff, add some new things in, and make it better than it originally was, while keeping it almost the same as the original. So that's where I see movies and games differently.
Yeah, you that's a good point. I just want to touch upon this a game real quick. It was Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition, which was kind of like a remastered, but they added more characters to the game that you could use. Devil May Cry 4 was a unfinished game, and when I saw that they were making a special edition for it for next gen only and PC, I thought they would have at least added new stages for these new characters, but they kept it the same, but they just added new graphics and just new characters, but they everything was still the same, still the same boring stages that you play through with the two main characters. That's one thing I don't like when what developers do. Capcom, they didn't finish Devil May Cry 4, and then they went on to make this whole make special edition and did not even complete it. They just added more characters into it, which I find was a big disappointment, because they were charging full price for a game that was not even finished.
See, that's why certain people don't like the thought of remakes and remasters, because companies like that make it seem like it's lazy. You know, they just slap on a few things that they consider new, while not fixing any of the principles that were wrong with the game. You know, any people that had any complaints about the game, they don't fix anything that's wrong with it, or try to improve on anything that worked but could have been better. They just add some high resolution textures and say that that's a remaster, or say that it's a remake. And that's where people, once again, they consider remakes to be negative and lazy. But Crash Bandicoot shows that you don't have to be that way. You don't have to be a lazy piece of shit to make a remake or remaster. You can build an entire thing from the ground up. They basically made a new game, while also not making a new game, because it was a remake of an old game. But they acted like they were building an entirely new game, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's true. And one thing about I'm gonna compare Crash Bandicoot and Shadow of the Colossus, because Shadow of the Colossus, it's gonna have two remasters. There was a remaster for the PlayStation 3. Now there's gonna be a remaster for the PlayStation 4. The difference between that Shadow of Colossus and Crash Bandicoot is that we haven't had a Crash Bandicoot remake or remaster since never, and they were just, now they decided to, you know, do this and make a game that we haven't played in a long time and up the graphics. But over there you have Shadow of Colossus, which, you know, it's just doing the same shit but just upping the graphics for a remastered game already. They already remastered it already, then they're gonna remaster it again. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what the next game we're gonna talk about is Shadow of the Colossus. How, number one, like you said, there's already a remaster for it, quote unquote remaster, on the PS3, because it came out on the PS2. And they just put some new textures on it and stuff. I don't think they added anything new. I think all they did was just up the resolution and put textures and stuff on it, called it a remaster. And now the PS4 version is just doing the exact same thing again, except making it higher resolution and even better graphics, and still not adding any new content. And they also changed the music. They went and redid the music. Now, Crash Bandicoot did redo the music for its soundtrack a little bit. It did sort of make it a little bit more prominent, but it didn't entirely change the soundtrack or the songs that were in the game. Shadow of the Colossus sounds like it is completely changing the music of the game, like making it totally different or changing what was originally there to make it not what people loved about the game, because that's one of the things that people really like about Shadow of the Colossus was the soundtrack, because it's this beautiful soundtrack. It totally fits with the style of the game, and then now they're going to change it. So people are thinking that this is going to be the worst way to play Shadow of the Colossus, because the music is going to be completely different. And I don't understand what the developers are doing. They're not adding. It's been two console generations since this game came out, and they're still not adding any new content for people, but they're still willing to make a remaster of the fucking game.
Yeah, they think it's what the people want. The people don't want that, to be honest. Like, think about it. You're basically putting out the same game that you already remastered, and you're gonna charge it the same price as a new release. It's gonna be $40 for this game, and it's so dumb because they're not adding anything new to it at all that I know of yet. But I think it's just lazy, and they're not, being creative. They're just, pumping out the same thing over and over. And I think instead of making another remastered version of it, they should just, make a new game instead of just doing the same old thing they did for the PS3.
Yeah, I know. It also doesn't make any sense, because the same guys who worked on Shadow of the Colossus did The Last Guardian, and what's prominently known about The Last Guardian is that it took about 10 years for that game to come out. I don't know when this thing started development, but it came out in 2016, and they've been working on that game for a very, very long time. So why would you go from working on that game, The Last Guardian, that you took so long to develop and make great? You went from that to just re-releasing Shadow of the Colossus again.
Yeah, I think some people are gonna say the only reason they're remastering Shadow of the Colossus for the PS4 is to test the new hardware for if they're making a new game, because that's what they kind of did for Skyrim too. They had it remastered for the PS4 and Xbox One, and it's probably gonna test out the new engine, I guess, and to see if they could actually make a game that they want that could run well on this generation right now.
But they've already had experience with the console, because they put out The Last Guardian on the PS4. So I think it's just a money grab. I don't think that they're testing anything. I think it's just a money grab, because they know that people like the name. They know the name Shadow of the Colossus, and they like the game, so they went, we'll just put it on the new consoles.
Yeah. they're fucking lazy as hell, because I just find that dumb. Like, there's a lot of games that could be remastered and remake that people actually want, but instead they're just doing things that they already remastered and just doing it again. It's just like, what the fuck?
I know, instead of bringing out another remaster or remake of an old game that we've asked for, you just re-release the same shit again. I don't understand it.
I don't know, but with the Xbox, because Xbox at their press conference, they said that you're gonna be able to play the Xbox original games, but they're gonna didn't they say that the graphics are gonna be changed a little bit, but it's still the same thing, but it's just the graphics are a little bit, updated or some shit.
Yeah, they're gonna obviously make the resolution higher and make the aspect ratio able to fit on today's TVs, because obviously when the Xbox original came out, TVs were a hell of a lot smaller back then, so they're making it so that it's going to be able to fit on today's TVs. They're going to make the resolution higher and the graphics a little bit better. They are updating it, but it's not a remake. It's just it is sort of remasters of games, because Xbox 360 games sort of do the same thing. They take the Xbox 360 games, they make the resolution a bit higher, they make the frame rate better. They do different things to it, but they're not obviously remaking the games.
Yeah, but the way they're going about it is kind of smart. Instead of actually, just doing the same shit as Shadow of Colossus. But that's just one game. But I'm gonna go on to the next game I want to talk about is a game that everyone was excited for when they heard about it getting remade or remastered. Well, actually remake was Final Fantasy VII. That was one that everyone was excited for.
Yeah, that's what you call a complete remake. Looking at Crash Bandicoot and Final Fantasy, those are definite remakes, not remasters. They built the game, they're rebuilding the game from the ground up and making it, like the game that originally came out before it. But Final Fantasy VII has been in development for a very long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, but this thing is, it was worth it, everything about it, because that game on the PS, I never played on the PlayStation 1 because I don't like to read, because that's a lot of dialogue.
I don't like to read.
It's just too much dialogue. It's just, I can't do that. But fans of the original on the PlayStation 1, they weren't expecting a remake of it at all, and then when it was announced, it was like, yes, finally they could relive those great moments, and it's in better quality. That's a good example of a good remake. And Crash Bandicoot, because you're giving the fans what they want, and it's not something that was basically reused. It's not like what's a good game? Oh wait, it's like Skyrim. Because Skyrim was what it's had so different copies of Skyrim. You had the original Skyrim, you had Skyrim Legendary Edition, then you have Skyrim Remastered, and now you're gonna get Skyrim on the Switch. That's just Skyrim needs to die already. But anyways, Final Fantasy VII did a good job in remaking it and bringing back what people actually loved about it, like the whole turn-based and stuff. They didn't change anything, they just made it look better.
Yeah, I personally don't really like the Final Fantasy series, so I haven't been following this remake, but I have seen some of it. I have seen what they've done with the game, because I know what the original Final Fantasy VII looked like and how that played. And this game, while amping it up, in terms of visual style and everything, it does sort of, from what I've seen, stay true to the Final Fantasy VII formula. So I think that's going to do fans well, at least from what we've seen so far. Hopefully they don't fuck it up.
Hopefully they don't fuck it up. Didn't Kingdom Hearts got a HD remix, something like that?
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts, they're a little interesting when you talk about remastered and stuff, because they've had a lot of there's the 1.5 HD remix edition, and then there's the 2.5 HD remix with the DS games and also the PSP games and stuff. They put those on there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it is interesting when you talk about those games. But those are I'm pretty sure those are just remasters. I wouldn't call those remakes, except for maybe the handheld versions. I think the handheld versions are sort of remakes, quote unquote, because they're changing hardware. They're changing it from a handheld system to a full-on console, while still looking the same. While still sort of playing the same. They do sort of up the visuals and the resolution and change the gameplay aspects to fit on a controller and change the HUD around and whatnot. So I think it's a little bit of a mix between a remake and a remaster in terms of the handheld versions. But in terms of the original Kingdom Hearts, like Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 1, those are just remasters. Those are just new textures, new resolution, new graphics. But there is one that recently came out on the PS4, wasn't there? It was called the Kingdom Hearts 2.8.
I don't know. I never heard of that. It probably did. I don't know, but I don't keep up with the Kingdom Hearts as much.
Yeah, trying to keep up with all the games in the Kingdom Hearts series, including the remakes and the remasters and whatnot, is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. I looked it up. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue. Jesus fucking Christ, that title couldn't be any longer. Includes a high-definition remaster of Kingdom Hearts 3D Drop Distance, which was the 3DS Kingdom Hearts, which I have played, and that's a pretty good game. Let's see.
Wait, there was a Kingdom Hearts on the 3DS?
Yeah, your Dream Drop Distance. There's a demo for it on the 3DS store. I downloaded it, and it's actually a pretty good game. It deals a lot with teleporting. Teleporting around the battlefield. Combat involves a lot of teleporting, which I haven't seen in a Kingdom Hearts game, so when I played it, I thought it was pretty unique and pretty interesting to kind of learn that, dealing with all that in the combat. Let's see, they have the Kingdom Hearts Drop Distance, they have Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, which is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, A Fragmentary Passage, which is a new short episode taking place after the events of the original Birth by Sleep. Oh, so Birth by Sleep was on the PSP, and then on this PS4 game, they put a story that continues after that game, which that's pretty cool.
Wait, so how many Kingdom Hearts games are there? Because I know
regular or remakes?
Well, like in general, not regular, because I know Kingdom Hearts 3 it's a finally sequel, but you have all these other side games.
Yeah, I've seen gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 3. They sort of showed a trailer during E3 when I was watching that, and I think that looks pretty good, at least from what I've seen. Let's see. We had Kingdom Hearts, which was on the PS2. Chain of Memories, which was on the Game Boy Advance. Kingdom Hearts 2, which is on the PS2. Chain of Memories, which was I think it was a remake? Yeah, it was a remake of Chain of Memories for the PlayStation 2. So they moved the Game Boy Advance game to the PlayStation 2. Kingdom Hearts Coded, which I think that was a DS game. Kingdom Hearts 358 and a half days, which was for the DS. Birth by Sleep was on the PSP. Dream Drop Distance was on the 3DS. And then after that, it's just sort of remakes.
Oh my god. All those games.
Yeah, this is a lot.
All those games, and they still haven't continued with the main story. Oh. Got all these.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is now a thing. I mean, it was a thing, but now it's officially got gameplay and story and whatnot. So, I just have to wait and see.
Yeah, it took them a while. And also
Yeah.
you have the Kingdom Hearts game, the mobile game, which looks pretty much like ass.
Yeah, I played the Kingdom Hearts mobile game. It's not good. It looks really bad.
The animations.
Oh yeah, it plays horribly.
I want to know where they got the idea from to get Disney characters into that game.
Disney with Final Fantasy, you know.
Yeah,
That is a weird combination. I don't know how that came about.
like just seeing Cloud and Mickey Mouse, it's like what?
I'm sure if you looked it up, like how did this come together, I'm sure you could find some interview or documentary on it or something, and I'm not sure.
I thought it was just a kid lost in Disneyland, and he found a fucking Pandora's box, and then weird shit starts happening. I don't know.
All right, moving on to a old remaster. We've sort of been talking about newer remakes and remasters, but the one that I want to talk about is the Conker's Bad Fur Day remaster. Conker's Bad Fur Day was originally released on the N64, and that has gotten a lot of it obviously got a lot of cult following, or a cult kind of fan base, because it was an M-rated game on the N64, and it was cartoony at the same time. Had the cartoon graphics like Banjo-Kazooie, and it sort of had gameplay like Banjo-Kazooie, but it was mature. There were a lot of sex jokes and alcohol and whatnot, and people wanted that to come onto newer consoles because it didn't sell well at all on the N64, because it came out near the end of its cycle. Like the N64 was about to go off the market, and then they put this fucking game on the console, and it didn't sell well at all. And then how this came to be, the remaster, or the remake actually, was Microsoft had bought out the company Rare, which made Conker's Bad Fur Day, and they decided, hey, we want you to remake this game onto our Xbox. And that came to be Conker Live and Reloaded. And why I want to talk about this is because the original game on the N64 had, while it was still an M-rated game, it had a little bit of censorship, because the Nintendo was obviously looking after it. So the words like fuck and shit, I think those were censored out of the game. Certain cutscenes and stuff were censored from the game because they were considered too graphic. And originally, this game that came out on the Xbox was supposed to be called Conker Live and Uncut, and it was supposed to be a completely uncensored game. Like, it had all the cutscenes that were removed, all the dialogue that was censored and removed. So this was going to be like a completely censored-less game, while having updated visuals and stuff. But what made people really pissed off is that this game actually had even more censorship than the N64 version. It had more words censored in its dialogue. It had more things cut out of it, but it was still rated mature and still had that adult warning on it. And I don't understand why that happened. I don't know what Microsoft thought. They went from making a game that was going to be completely uncensored and would have made everyone so happy, and then they put even more censorship on it.
That's one thing about these games. They censor a lot of things because, I don't know, legal action to some shit, or maybe the only reason they probably got the M rating is probably because of higher ups. They probably felt like it was deserving of a M rating, which I don't know what was said in the game. I never played it, but I could understand why I still got an M rating, because they don't have full control of what they're gonna rate their games, because there's always someone higher up that's gonna like say it's mature, I guess.
Well, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me though, because they could have made a much better game to the N64 version. Better controls, better graphics. You know, so it was sort of remade almost from the ground up with a lot of new shit, new cutscenes, new dialogue and stuff. And then they cut even more stuff out of what was in the N64 version. You know, they could have made a definitive version of the game that everyone would have thought was so much better. But now you've got people that are still going back to the N64 version because they think that game's better. Because people, especially nowadays, hate censorship. They think censorship is one of the worst things in the world because it's hiding things from people. Obviously, people don't want things to be hidden from them. They don't want to be sheltered from stuff like that, you know. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just another corporate decision. Once again, not paying attention to what fans wanted or what people were talking about, and then just said, "Oh, they won't care. They aren't gonna notice or give a shit." But in the end, they ended up giving a shit. So I don't understand how corporations do this kind of stuff.
That censorship is a big thing, because when there's games in, like, you know, Japan and stuff like that, there's games that we can play, and people that, you know, play those Japanese games, and then when they finally have a release in the West, the games are censored. Like, there's a lot of games that are originally from, you know, Japan and stuff. They're censored when they come to the US or Europe. They're always censored because I don't know why. They probably think our audience is very sensitive, so that's why they censor, like, most of the games that come out of Japan. Like, for example, there was this game, I think it was God Eater.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that game.
It's a pretty good game. And in the Japanese version, it had way more blood on the origamis, or the monsters, I guess. It had way more blood, and then when it came over to the West, it got rid of most of the blood. It was a teeny bit of blood, and it didn't look red, it was purple. So they kind of censored that, and they also kind of the way some characters are dressed, they kind of censored that as well because they think we're sensitive.
I mean, to be honest, if you were in another country like China or Japan or somewhere over there, if you were looking over at America, especially right now, I mean, I know that game came out a long time ago, but if you were to look at this generation right now and see all the shit that's happening over here in America, wouldn't you think that we're a bunch of sensitive pussies as well?
Yeah, I would say that, because people get offended when you say the word retard. It's like,
yeah, people get offended when you say that, and people will start riots over that kind of shit in America. You say the word retard, someone's throwing a trash can through a window within the next 5 minutes if you say that in public. It just doesn't make any sense. People are just so hopped up and tense and sensitive. I mean, I'm a tense person, but in terms of anger, and even me, I'm not a sensitive pussy, and I don't get overly angry at certain things and throw a riot, you know. But I can see where other countries are coming from, especially nowadays, looking at our country and saying, "Oh,
yeah, it's like dark humor. You have those comedians who make fun of 9/11 and all that shit." And
I love that shit. Dark humor is one of the funniest ways of humor, because you're taking a super serious situation that no one likes to talk about or no one likes to make fun of, and he goes up on stage and says, "What, 9/11?" You know, he makes a fucking joke about it, or like dead babies or of shit. And it's funny because people don't talk about that normally. People sugarcoat everything, and then this guy comes along and doesn't sugarcoat a single word he said, and he may get booed off stage, or he may be cheered and applauded. That's just how people work.
Yeah, that's how it's always been now, because people they're just so sensitive. Like, you can't say certain words without people getting triggered. You can't assume someone's gender. If you say he, they're gonna probably flip out and fucking try to kill you. Like, the whole situation, it just makes us as a nation look stupid, because you have like other countries just looking at us saying, what the fuck, talking about cisgender. There's only two fucking genders, like talking about cisgender and all these fucking things. Like, what the fuck.
Yeah, it's just crazy, dude. It really is. Seeing where we've gone. I mean, don't get me wrong here, people. I like transgenders. I think people who feel that they're a woman or a man at some time in their life and they want to be an opposite gender, I'm fine with that. You know, I like transgender people. I love gay people, bisexual, the LGBT community. But when you step out of that boundary of male and female and you start going off to different genders, people always make fun of that shit. They're like, oh, I identify as a fucking toaster. Because anything in this day and age could be basically a gender now, because so many people I'd want to identify themselves as something else besides male and female. I don't understand that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, transgender people are some of the coolest people. But when you try to go off from male and female and say that you're a different gender without proof, I don't know. That's kind of where I draw the line.
I like how
I know someone out there listening to this right now is going to get offended from what I'm saying. Because either they identify themselves as someone different from a male or female, or they know someone who identifies as a different gender that's not male or female, and they're going to get offended. But maybe someone just has to explain that to me, because right now I just don't understand it.
I like how we just went from
We went from fucking video games to God. This has turned so controversial. Let's move back to video games. Let's move back to video games before I get myself shot.
Well, this is gonna go back to video games, but you know the game Dragon Age Inquisition, right?
You talked about this on a podcast before, how your character was gay.
Oh no, that was Dragon's Dogma.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna go on the story again, how your character turned gay and you were surprised.
No, I haven't played that game in forever. But anyways, Dragon Age Inquisition. You know, it's the same people that made Mass Effect. So you know how you have those, relationships, the romance.
I think I know what you're gonna talk about. You can have like any relationship in that game, can't you?
Yeah. And there was people complaining that there was more like gay romance in the game than actual straight romance, because I think there was only two females that you could actually have romance with, and then you could have, I think there was probably 3 or some shit, I don't know, but the romance between the guys are just I don't know. I saw videos of it. I don't have a problem with it. It's just, I think people they used to seeing a male playing as a straight character, and then seeing all these things in these games. It's like, what the fuck?
I mean, every time I play a video game, if I have the choice to pick a male or a female, pick my gender or whatever, I always pick female.
But why?
Even though I'm obviously a dude, I picked female because it's better to look at.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
I'd rather be looking at a female character during my game than some dumb cis white male character.
Though I would rather look at, because when I'm playing these type of games where you gotta create your own character, I always make the character to represent me in a way, because I want to be immersive playing as a. You could still be immersive playing as a girl, but I'm just saying it's just your playstyle, I guess, because like this is gonna go off topic, way off topic, but Skyrim mods, you got these armor pieces for these ladies that are just two pieces of metal, and they call it armor.
Oh yeah, where they're basically naked.
Yeah, I fucking hate those mods. It's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, you got.
That's why I like Dark Souls. All three of the Dark Souls games, whether you pick a female or a male character, they are fully armored from head to fucking toe, unless you pick a certain class, which is the deprived class, which people who play Dark Souls know what I'm talking about. It goes both ways for male and female. You're basically stripped of everything. You don't have any clothes or armor. You have like a basic club and a wooden shield. That's what deprived is. But if you pick basically any other class in the game, both male and female, they are fully covered in armor or in clothes. They're not treated sexually or anything. They're not putting themselves out there, They didn't make the character or the male character buffed out in armor and then make the female character into two-piece.
There's a lot of weird people in this, world, and oh wait, another thing too, Fallout. Have you played that?
I have never played Fallout.
You probably would you play as a male or female?
I'd probably play as a female. Like I said, any chance I get to play, whether it's male or female, I usually choose female.
I can, that's true too, because I was playing a game, and I picked a male character, right? And the animations for the male character just looked it looked disgusting. So I had no choice to start over the game and play as a female, because the female character, her animations were way better. They didn't look janky or disgusting. It looked great. So I made her look like a librarian. So I had glasses on her. I had a ponytail and everything. And I was like, yep. And I named her the librarian, because you know what? Why not?
You role playing as a sexy librarian?
No, she was fucking ugly. I made sure she is supposed to be a warrior. All right, she's going to be ugly. I'm not saying.
Oh my god.
I'm not saying there's not any pretty fighters. I'm just saying she come from a she came from wars. All right, so her face is obviously fucked up.
Oh my god, Mia.
That's why she wears a fucking hood.
Oh my god. Alright, moving on to another game. We're gonna talk about Doom.
Oh, I was gonna bring up Legend of Zelda. Didn't they remake? Oh wait, never mind. Let's talk about Doom, and then let's get to that.
Yeah, let's talk about Doom, because Doom 2016, that's what I'm going to call it, because Doom and Doom have the same name. One came out in the 90s, one came out in 2016. So I'm just going to call one Doom 2016. That is basically sort of a it's hard to say, because I don't think it really has anything to do with the original Doom that came out in the 1990s story-wise. But Doom is basically a reboot of the Doom series, because you had Doom 1, Doom 2, and then Doom 3. Doom 3 came out in about 2005, and then that was the last game in the Doom series until Doom 2016. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but yeah, Doom completely took the Doom formula that was in the 1990s and completely revamped it while also making it the same. You know, they had the fast movement, the jumping around, the tons of weapons, and no reload. And I don't think they had regenerative health. You had to go and pick up health on the ground. You had to pick up ammo on the ground, and still had that fun, chaotic sense of movement and combat in the game that was in the original Doom, and they made it into Doom 2016 while making it even better. With the graphics and the resolution and new gameplay and stuff like that.
Yeah, one thing about Doom, I didn't really understand was the story. Like, it was a weird story, and then the Doom movie came out with The Rock, and that was total ass.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that movie.
And I was still confused. I was like, what the fuck is going on? What is the story of this game? And then, wasn't Doom 3 based off the movie? Because I think it was.
I don't think so.
Because it did not go off the original at all. It had the monsters from the movie in it.
Well, Doom in 2005, because I think that's when it came out. That was trying to move more towards the horror genre. It was trying to move towards scary, because that's what was sort of popular at the time, was scary stuff and first-person shooters, in corridors and dark hallways and scary stuff. So they were obviously going from Doom 1, which was this fast-paced combat, open-level style of games, to tight corridors, dark hallways, scary monsters type of game. And people didn't like that as much, obviously. But Doom the movie, I know what you're saying. Doom the movie sort of had a lot of stuff that was similar towards the game. But I don't think it had anything. I don't think Doom 3 had anything to do with the movie.
I feel like it did, because there was this one monster in the movie that was in the wheelchair, and I think it popped up in 3. I'm not sure. I might be wrong, but who knows? But that movie was trash.
Trash.
It was. It went from, a demon portal or whatever the fuck the original story was, to some virus turning people into zombies, into alien motherfuckers. Like, what? It was... And I think the only reason they made that movie is because Resident Evil was big at the time, and video game horror movies, they were making those. You got House of the Dead, Resident Evil, and then they're like, hey, why not? Let's make this.
let's just go with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Doom 2016 is definitely another good example to look at of how to properly do a remake. Because it's basically a remake without being a remake, because it's more of a reboot, I guess, of anything, because while still staying true to the Doom formula, the original Doom, it did have sort of its own story and whatnot, but it kept the gameplay almost exactly the same. So it is still staying faithful to the Doom formula, unlike Doom 3. While being different is good, obviously trying out new things is good, such a drastic change like that didn't go well with a lot of people,
What do you mean didn't go well?
Well, changing it from Doom 1 and Doom 2, like I said, fast-paced combat, moving around, jumping around, no reload times, picking up health and ammo. And then you've got slow walking corridors with the horror elements and flashlight. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Going from that to that.
Yeah, it Doom gameplay, the new Doom 2015, 2016, whatever. It reminds me. The movement reminds me of Quake, the fast pace and no reloading.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of Quake, you got Quake Champions, which is coming out in like either later this year or next year, and that I know what you're saying. Quake sort of did look a lot like that.
Yeah, and there was a Quake game that had a story, and I was like, what? Because it was known just as a multiplayer game, and then there was this Quake game that just popped out with a story, and I was like, what? There's a story to this? I thought it was just people on rollerblades.
Alright, moving on to the next game. We sort of talked about this. I think it wasn't the last podcast that we uploaded, but a podcast previously. It was Modern Warfare Remastered.
Yes.
Let's talk about that game.
Whew. They're having a special weekend right now. There's prop hunt for the whole week, guys. There's beach prop hunt as well. Just get heads up for you guys.
On Modern Warfare Remastered?
Yeah, there's prop hunt. You didn't know about that?
No.
They introduced it a long time ago. It was like a weekend thing, and now since they released MWR by itself separately.
I mean, I know what prop hunt is. I've seen people play it on like Gary's mod. And
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, I know.
Not Call of Duty.
Yeah, they did that. I don't know why they did that, but you know, I think it's a good move for them because nobody fucking likes to play COD anymore. It's the same boring thing. It's the same thing. TDM, hardcore. Yay, I love doing that. Fuck no. Switch it up.
Just put in prop hunt.
Yeah, there's more people playing prop hunt than the actual like game modes that are actually in the game.
I mean, prop hunt is a fun game mode to play. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and plus it's not around all the time. It's just a weekend thing. So
yeah, but anyway, let's talk about the remaster. Let's talk about differences and stuff. So, Call of Duty Modern Warfare originally released on the Xbox 360 back in 2007, I believe, and it revolutionized like first-person shooters at the time with single player and especially multiplayer. I hate to say it, but it is sort of one of the most important video games. Not of all time, but it's definitely one of the most important video games because it sort of helped shape to where certain video games are today, especially in terms of multiplayer and stuff. But looking at this game that came out in 2007 to Modern Warfare Remastered, it definitely is, as much as I hate this fucking game, it definitely is sort of an impressive remaster because it's not like they just took the original game and put high-res textures on it and stuff like that. They did put a lot of I hate praising them. I really do. I'm cringing as I'm saying this stuff because I hate saying this, but they did sort of make, what was there before and turned it into something that's better. I hate this. Oh my god. But I don't want to talk about this anymore because I'm going to throw up if I praise this company too much, but it is sort of a good thing considering what they've done. I don't think that they just slap some HD textures on it and stuff like that. They did sort of remake it, put new elements in and stuff like that, make it look better, put new things in, make it play better and stuff like that, but enough about that. Let's move on to the next game.
Wait, what?
What?
I was gonna talk about Legend of Zelda.
Oh, right. You wanted to touch on that. Which
Yeah.
one?
I don't know.
Nice.
Didn't they what was it? The one with the mask. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask.
Yeah, didn't they remake that or remaster that for the 3DS?
Yeah, they did. They put Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time both on the Nintendo DS. Actually, it was on the 3DS.
That's what I said. 3DS.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, they put both of those games on the 3DS. Have you played those games on the handheld, or have you just played the originals?
Just the original. I want to know how they look though. Well, obviously I could just Google it and YouTube
Yeah,
it.
you can just Google it.
But did you play it?
I haven't played it personally, but a long time ago. Because my fiance likes, that's her favorite game series is the Legend of Zelda series. So a long time ago, I bought her Ocarina of Time for the 3DS as like an anniversary gift. So she has the game, but I've never actually played it.
Did you see how it looks at least?
I mean,
Does it look different?
not for long. I mean, yeah, I would say yes, it does sort of look different. Not sort of. I mean, it did look different to the original game, but I would say that that's not really a remake. I mean, I could be wrong on that. I feel like it's more of a remaster.
Yeah.
I think they put the game on the handheld and then put HD textures on it. Changed, made the character have a few more polygons, but that was mostly it. And then added 3D, of course.
Yeah, that dope ass 3D feature. Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid ass shit.
No, shut up.
I think we're gonna end the podcast here. Ryan, you want to sign us off?
Sure. Alright, so that was the video game remaster discussion. I don't know what the hell we're going to be talking about the next podcast, but you'll find out then. So I hope you have a good night, good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you decide to listen to this, and we will see you in the next podcast.